In today's video, we're going to go over exactly how to get down to a lean and strong 15% body fat step by step. My name is Jesse. I'm an online fitness coach for men. And this is Nigel, my boxer. And I've got my second boxer, Quincy, right on the other couch over there. I've had the privilege of helping dozens of clients at this point get down to 15% body fat or even less from all different starting points. So I'm going to share with you step by step the process that I recommend you take and that has worked so well for many of us. I really hope this helps and gives you some clarity, and if it does, consider subscribing to my channel because I make new videos just like this every single week. So I'm going to give you the 4 steps and I'm going to outline them very clearly, and I'm going to explain to you why they are important for getting down to 15% body fat. Step number 1 is to set a proper timeline for this. Where so many people go wrong is they expect to see really fast, immediate results, and they have unrealistic expectations of how much weight they're going to lose or how quickly they're going to be able to get to their goal. And a lot of the time it leads to getting discouraged and just full out quitting on their journey. And in other cases, it leads them to get discouraged and to hop from one program to the next every few weeks or every few months. And this program hopping is absolutely detrimental to your results. No one's getting to 15% body fat, which is like a really high level physique for most men out there. Most men would kill to be at 15% body fat. Guys aren't getting there by hopping from one thing to the next. They get there by having a good solid plan in place and being consistent with that plan. So here's the truth about the timeline that it might take you to get to 15% body fat. It's that it's going to be different for each one of you watching this. If someone watching this is at 20% body fat, you probably will be able to get down to 15% more quickly than someone watching this who's at 30% or 35% body fat. And it makes sense, right? The more out of shape you are right now, the further away you are from 15% body fat, the longer it might take you to get there. And the truth is, if you are 30% or more, that's considered obese, right? So you didn't get to be obese by doing unhealthy things for a month or for a couple months. You most likely got there by having years of not really taking care of yourself, not eating too well, maybe neglecting working out, just neglecting your health in general. Many years, maybe a decade or more of doing that and gradually gaining weight over time. So of course, you're not going to be able to undo a decade of not taking care of yourself in just a couple months. So for some of you, it might take a year or 2 years to get down to that goal. And that's okay, right? That's still a pretty good deal. If you're someone watching this who's neglected your health for a decade, but you can turn it around and cut your body fat in half in a year or 2 years, that's still a pretty damn good deal. So I encourage you to be patient. And here's what I would expect as far as how weight loss goes and the time frame of it. I would aim to lose about 1 pound of body fat per week. Now, some of you might be able to lose more than that, right? The more weight you have, the quicker you'll be able to lose it. So if you're 300 pounds, of course, you can lose more than 1 pound a week. But if you're in the range of 180 pounds to 200 pounds or 250 pounds, aiming for about 1 pound a week, give or take, is going to be a good rate of actual fat loss that is sustainable. And some of you may have 20 or 30 or 40 pounds to lose to get down to that 15%. So that can give you a time frame in regards to weeks of how long it might actually take. So that's step number 1, is having that time frame and realistic expectation that this might, we're talking about months and years, not in weeks. Step 2 is to have a calculated plan in place with nutrition. And here's what I mean. This is what most people do when they're trying to lose weight. They start eating healthier, they start eating cleaner foods, and essentially just hoping and praying that it leads to losing weight. The issue with that is it's not an actual game plan. Of course, I encourage all of you to eat healthy foods. The thing is, what you consider healthy may be wildly different from what someone else considers healthy or what I consider healthy. And there's not actually anything tangible to aim for in a day. So eating clean and then hoping and praying, that's not a strategy. Now, the most calculated approach here that would give you the most certainty with seeing results and the most predictability would be to track your food in total calories or macros. Because what you can do in this case is figure out what your maintenance calories are. And if you have no idea what that is, essentially maintenance calories is the amount of food you eat to maintain your weight. So you wouldn't lose weight, you wouldn't gain weight. If you have no idea what your maintenance calories is, comment below maintenance and I'll link a maintenance calorie calculator for you. So what you might want to do in this case is eat about 500 calories below your maintenance level, and that will theoretically help you lose about 1 pound of body fat per week, which is the goal I sort of recommended you aim for in step number 1. Now, of course, there's tons of factors at play. Water retention, are you gaining some muscle during this process? And a whole bunch of other factors that will have your weight fluctuating on a day-by-day basis. But on average, if you can lose about 1 pound a week, this is a very calculated and predictable way to do that. I've done it with hundreds of clients very, very well. Now, if you're not tracking your calories or your macros, I would argue why, but you still need some sort of plan or framework in place to aim for with food, so it's a little bit more of a strategic plan with eating rather than just hoping and praying. So if that's you, if for whatever reason you're just not going to track your food, first of all, expect that the results aren't going to be as predictable, but you can comment below portion control, and what I'll do for you is I'll link my portion control protocol that I've used with clients over the years who aren't tracking their food to give them a little bit of a framework with eating to make results a little bit more predictable. But this is step number 2. We need a calculated plan with nutrition because that's going to be the main driver of the fat loss. Step number 3 is very simple. You need to be strength training. If you're not strength training, you're probably not going to be happy with how your physique looks, even if you do lose weight. You're not going to see some definition or muscularity, or you're certainly going to lose muscle in addition to body fat if you're not doing any strength training. So I would argue that everybody on earth should be strength training to some degree, whether you're an 80-year-old grandpa who is just trying to stay healthy and strong, maybe he's strength training very safely 2 times a week, or if you're someone like myself who really loves it, I'm strength training 5 times a week. I really enjoy it. It helps me create the body composition that I want. I'm trying to get stronger. Maybe you fall in that camp, or maybe you fall somewhere in the middle, but you should definitely be strength training, I would say probably 3 times a week or more. And we want to hit each muscle group at least once in the week, possibly twice. So what that means is you're not going into the gym 3 times a week and only hitting the exercises that you like chest and curls, but you want to have something in there for your quads. You want to have something in there for your hamstrings and your glutes on a leg day. You want to have something in there for not only the front part of the shoulder, but also the back part of the shoulder. And essentially what I'm saying is you don't want to be neglecting any certain muscle groups because that's how we build imbalances. Now, if this is the part that is totally new to you, the whole strength training side of things, that's my bread and butter as well when it comes to the exercise side of fitness. So you can comment below trial, and what I'll do is I'll set you up with a week-long trial of my training app that I use with my clients, and you can see how you like it, and you have a starting place to get the ball rolling with that. Man, Nigel's been out cold this whole time. So I'm gonna give you step number 4, and then I'm gonna give you a bonus step as well, because there's some additional details that you should know. Step number 4 is the plateau. And let me explain what I mean by plateau. I've coached many hundreds of men at this point over the last 13 years as a trainer. And what I see time and time and time again is that sometimes when people are doing really well and they are losing weight, they are looking better, their clothes are fitting better, they're getting stronger, everything's going in the right direction, people will often start cutting corners without realizing it, because losing the weight and improving their fitness and their body and their health isn't quite as urgent now. Maybe this is after 5 months or 4 months or 6 months. At some point, it's not as urgent for them to really improve their body because they're happier with how they look and how they feel. So they start ordering food out 3 or 4 times a week instead of having a hard rule of just once a week, which is what helped them get the results in the first place. And maybe they've, been more flexible with alcohol, allowing themselves to have a drink every night instead of keeping it to just 1 or 2 times on the weekend. Or maybe they get a little bit lackadaisical, that's a good word, with tracking their food, and they track everything up until dinner time, and then they essentially don't track dinner, or they don't track what they eat after dinner. These are very common habits that people fall into that often they don't even realize that they are doing. which is the benefit of having a coach, because you have a second set of eyes on everything that you're doing. And I'm the one who can point it out to them, and I can say, hey, we haven't lost a pound in a full month or a month and a half, and this is why that's happening. Look at how many times we've eaten out in the last month compared to the previous month. Look at how accurate your tracking is this past month. It's not nearly as accurate as it was the previous 5 months. And it's my job to help and to point these things out and to help people with the blind spots that they might not be aware of on their own. But what you think and what you see on your side without a coach is that you think it's just not working anymore. You genuinely think that you're doing everything the same as the beginning when you were seeing results, because you're aiming for the same calories or the same macros, you're doing the same workouts, you're still getting in the same amount of steps. But the truth is, if you were actually eating the same calories that helped you to lose all that weight initially, you wouldn't go a full month or 2 full months without losing a pound again. So if this happens to you, if this plateau period happens to you where you see some good progress, I'm talking about you lose 10 pounds or 15 or 20 pounds and you are going down the right path, but then for a month or two it seems to completely stop, you don't necessarily need to reduce your calories at that point or increase your cardio by a lot. But what usually makes the most sense and is the most effective is go back to the basics. Are you using a food scale to weigh out the foods you're eating still? Or did you stop doing that? Go back to the basics with tracking everything that you eat to make sure that you're tracking your food accurately. Go back to the rules you had with how much you were drinking alcohol or how many times you were going out to eat at the very beginning. And I promise that the vast majority of the time, doing these things will get you back on that weight loss track again. Now, bonus step number 5, and this one's important, which is the maintenance period. Let's say you get down to 15% body fat or a level of leanness that you're happy with, and you want to essentially maintain that level. At this point, you can't expect to still be eating 500 calories below maintenance calories. You need to bring your calories up to that maintenance level. And you can do that either by adding 500 calories in to get to your maintenance level right away, or you can do what's called a reverse diet by gradually adding in 100 or 200 calories every other week or so for a month or two until you gradually build up to that maintenance calorie level. And this is the new amount of food that you're going to eat in the maintenance phase, where the goal is not to lose more weight, but the goal is to maintain your current body composition and weight and physique and just have a more sustainable life with nutrition. Most people don't do this. They totally mess up and they end up yo-yo dieting and gaining the weight back because they're trying to live life forever being in a calorie deficit, which is impossible. So this step number 5 is super important, right, Nigel? Now, if you'd like my help to walk you through step by step this whole process and help you get down to 15% body fat, I'll leave a link for my Modern Man coaching program down below. You can check it out and we can have a chat to see if it's a good fit for you and if you want to get started. And if it is a good fit for both of us, I'll do everything I can to make sure that you get to that point. But I really hope you enjoyed the video and that you found it helpful. And if you did, consider checking out this video here because that's the one that's coming up next, and I'll see you over there.